Was always real protective of people being bullied, and so protective of nerds and geeks and stuff. When I was young, I didn't participate in student body government or other activities that involved, bureaucracy. They put me in certain classes because I had a propensity to excel at certain subjects. And adult ADHD, what else I've been accused of? Asperger's, savant, shit like that. Just because you don't give a shit about their egotistical bullshit doesn't mean you're Asperger's or savant, guys. Okay? Just because you're like, just fucking forgive debt and trespass, love on eternal faithful peace already. Okay, sod the fuck off. And see, so it's a little different, man. And people don't understand that, and then they classify you as irrational. I think most people like myself have a tendency to be expressive and talented as far as being expressive. And so most people that have a tendency to be more like me are in more of like the athletic or entertainment field, and they have a lot of trouble with academics because academics is bullshit. It's competitive bullshit. But when you become an athlete, a lot of times most good athletes drop out. The best athletes quit. Okay. Because they feel sorry for the other guys, and they don't want to get hurt by the other guys because the other guys will do anything to win. Like same with military and things like that. The guys that are most like Peter Fabre said to me, the guys that are most capable and stuff, you wouldn't expect it or whatever and stuff like that. It's like, I get myself in shape. You would smell it and you would see it and know, okay, this guy's going to kick my ass. I'm not able to get myself in shape because of all the jealous perverts. And so when I do get in shape, it's like, okay, he's going to hurt me. And when I got in real good shape back in 2017, they couldn't handle it. And I wasn't even I was 185 pounds. I was, about 10% body fat. And then next thing you know, I can't hardly jog because my shins are hurting so bad from chemical poisoning. And my teeth are rotting out, and it's too hard to work out because my teeth are rotting out, and it was painful. And this stuff with my liver is uncomfortable and painful, but I think the reason why I was going to check the mail, I think the main reason why I have such an amazingly good pain threshold, not just physiologically, but emotionally and mentally, is because I am the spirit of Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John, and the Messiah. And people love me because they know, okay, he loves us. And once it goes from fantasy to reality, I think more people will be able to conceptualize life and appreciate it and live it more from the real me as opposed to the comic book me that people pray to. And I was like, I don't want to hear it. Just live the Lord's Prayer, for crying out loud already. Okay. You know what I mean? So I sat and I screwed around on the YouTube a little bit thing, and I went on news things and had this stuff about was in the news today about Kim Kardashian talking about what's happening with her parenting with her kiddos and with their biological father, with their daddy. And the one person I connect to with the most, this is the first time I ever saw the other kids. They had a picture and they showed the other kids. Oh, handsome little guys. Well, dad has that square jaw, and then mom's, mom's a celebrity, so mom's physically like all the guys want to do her, And so all the Reggie Bushes, and the professional football players and stuff. And when you're living the Lord's Prayer, it's a lot. Life's a lot more simple in life. It's a lot better being a very physically attractive female when you're living the Lord's Prayer, because the conflict, the competition, the bitchiness, the gossiping and stuff, that all just goes away. What do you got to bitch and gossip about? You're living the Lord's Prayer. Her eyelashes are nicer than me. I hate that bitch. Yeah, Natalie's eyelashes, gorgeous eyelashes. She always had them. She had these beautiful eyelashes. Yeah, she has gorgeous little eyelashes. Yeah, she's cute. But kids are cute. That's one thing I was really upset about, because when I was before I had daughters, I watched a relationship between Chief and Londa Curry and Shelly Baby, And I was like, oh, I want that. That's nice. I like that. My dad didn't have that kind of relationship with his girls at all. No. You know, Law came set on Dad's lap, Londa Curry and Shelly Baby, and my dad, no. My sisters, no. It was no relationship like that at all. And with me, of course, I wanted my Ray Ray to have a relationship with me that way, but it just wasn't, they weren't going to allow it to happen. And then they wanted to promote the relationship that they were manipulating with me and her. So I was able to have that kind of relationship with my Gracie bird and my Buggy Snug, So I did get to have that kind of relationship. I was just always pissed because I wasn't allowed to have that with my Ray Ray, Shanae, Nay, Ray, Nay, Shanae, Renee, And that pissed me off because it was always difficult. Our relationship always had difficulties, and it used to frustrate me. And then afterwards, when we got to Sierra Vista and I got here, and I would tell Natalie all the time, no, I wanted the same kind of relationship with you that I have with Emily and Cage, and they took that from us. And these perverts, I'm pissed. It's damn well should be pissed. When you decide to be the father of a little girl, you shouldn't have a bunch of psychotic, sadistic, jealous, scientific perverts, working hard for all you popular people on TV to hold stuff hostage and sell it so everybody feels like you're their great hero or problem solver or provider. That's just fucked. Just live the Lord's Prayer and go home and shut the fuck up already. Yeah. So I get this little girl who's like the protector of the other kids. And I get a lot of things with the things, I don't know how they talk with people about Jesus and what to say and what to do and everything like that. But from her dad was like, you can trust him and he'll help you. And which is true. I mean, Northwestie's the bestie. She's the bestie, Northwestie. She's the best, And they grow so fast, They're little and then, oh my gosh, the hell happened to you? I'm not going to tell you to stop growing, but wait a minute here. You're this big now, you're this big. I don't go looking, like when they do that with me with Max and Emmy when they had things where we connected because I'm the spirit of Jesus, right? And then they go from, they're fun. They're fun kids. I really dig those kids. They are so fun. And they're such nice kids, And I had a similar, connections with Will and Jada's kids. And I really like Trey a lot because he reminds me a lot he has that cerebralness of Patrick that I appreciate and enjoy so much. He's so quiet and he's so guarded and so private, but you like him. They're just, I like the kid. And the other ones are very emotional. They're a lot more emotional. The other two kiddos are a lot more emotional. And but I like kids. I like kids if they're emotional, if they're cerebral, if they're whatever. I don't sit there and you fit my perception of how I want you to be. I'm the type of person like when they're difficult to deal with, you have to sit there and go, what the fuck's going on here? Then you have to work real hard at the relationship if it's in your life, right? But then it's very rewarding when it starts to get better and you put all the effort in, like with me and Ray. Because what the hell? Patrick used to do the same thing with Noah. What is that boy doing? Well, I think it has to do with kind of making people laugh and just, yeah, but I know it's, you're treating him just like Grandpa Pat. You need to watch that. He needs to be able to be himself. Just as long as he don't set the house on fire and don't kill himself, me and him got a kind of an understanding. Took us a while to get to that too, Because I'm like, no, you're not going to get yourself killed doing something stupid like Steve-O and Johnny Knoxville. Mom will use the fucking TV to raise you, but I will not. And you're not going to do anything stupid like experiment, trying to light fires with magnifying glasses and stuff that can set the house on fire. So those, you can have fun and look at things and experiment, and you tore that up with the okay. I'm not going to sit there and say you're just like Zeke telling up the couch to make it more comfortable, but that's interesting. Okay, so but all of Amy's kids were that way. I'd go and they'd want this movie, and I would buy it, and then I would always sit there. That was notorious for saying, so I just paid $20 for a coaster, huh? For the DVDs. That's why it's so nice nowadays and stuff like that. You have a device, and then you can buy the movies and put the digital copy on the thing, so they can just go and turn on the movie, and they don't have to use it as a $20 Disney fucking coaster, right? Which is a hell of a lot better. That's why I like these MP3s as opposed to Amy's It's Off Drop Off Disease. And I used to have that album. Yeah. What happened? Miss It's Off Drop Off got a hold of it. She used it. She liked it. Shit. Now it's like, I could use it to scratch. So, yeah. It used to drive me crazy. I was like, drove Patrick insane. Well, Patrick, that's what literally ran him out of the house, was that kind of stuff. And just no respect for nothing. Nobody's seeing it, and it drove him crazy. And I didn't blame him. It drove me crazy too. But I wouldn't get as upset, or you got to deal with things. And I would always try to encourage them to be that way. But it didn't stick, because Amy would always sit there and go, good cop, bad cop. Dad's gonna be off today. He's gonna yell at us all. That's because all week I've been working, and the house gets messier, and you guys haven't done a damn thing. And then I spend my whole day off cleaning the house. And then she always sits there and then, because I get mad, I said, yeah, you guys need to get up and do shit too. You're not the royal family of England's fucked head, dumbass, Egypt, whatever and stuff. Don't act like that. And then she'd always tell me, yeah, my Lita, Peter's grandma told her she was the reincarnation of an evil Aztec princess who was like, no, she doesn't have the genetics to support that. But if you're going to tell them, make sure it's like, if you're going to tell lies about it, make sure you know that they were the Fighting Huron in the 1980s when you said you played there, right? Okay. So if you're going to be a juju voodoo woman, at least know, okay, you were, what's your lineage? They didn't know. But they said, because they said she was part Seminole, which she wasn't. And the Seminole aren't in Aztec territory. But, and I don't know if they would have traveled that far, but she wasn't. She was, as it turned out, well, maybe she was Aztec on her dad's side. I'm pretty sure dad's pretty much straight African. Mom's line was Spanish and German. And, I don't know. I seriously doubt if there was any Aztecs up black folks in Mississippi, but you never know. Could be on that line, but that's not the case. Why? Because the consistent genetic structures come through the mother's line, and the mother's line was German and Spanish. So being an Aztec person, oh shit, Spanish. No, because they don't bring Spanish women over to, nuns, Sir Juana. Okay, maybe she had a point. Okay, I do it. Sit there. Okay, maybe it's tangible. But that kind of shit is, that kind of voodoo shit is bullshit when you throw that on kids and you throw that kind of stuff. You don't say things to them when you're trying to do tarot card readings and come into their past to fuck with people and feel powerful and manipulative. You come in and you say, you can learn from, like they used to say about West African people, and Professor Hamlet, I used to call Get Whitey 101. He liked the Kenyans because of the Egyptians, because of all what the Europeans tried to emulate. And then he didn't talk anything about the West Africans. And then he basically said, well, you believed you were haunted by the voodoo, the juju and the voodoo of your past relatives. Oh, so they had genetic sequencing and they just kind of labeled it differently. So I wanted to hear about it, because I was like, I want to know about the people that I live with, the people around me, the people that I'm related to, not the people that you want to, use to impress the Europeans that are assholes, right? Okay, so we'll talk later, man. All right, peace out.